So before we get started, again, just a message from the channel and the iHealth channel and the iHealth Radio. First of all, please stay safe. I hope everybody's doing good out there. It is crazy. We're couple of weeks into this coronavirus craziness, and again, stay healthy. Do a lot of exercise. Keep your mental state in place, with activities, exercise, and don't just, get depressed. I mean, news is, it's pretty depressing out there. And when a lot of channels, a lot of feeds, everybody is talking. There's a lot of scare and fear and things like that. So please keep positive. Keep the momentum. Do some exercise. Keep the vibe up. Keep the energy up. Keep the enthusiasm. Keep positivity. Again, that is very important because unfortunately, if we talk too much about the negative and the crazy and all the outcomes that we hear about with deaths and things like that, it will have a negative impact on our own state of mind and our mental abilities and capabilities, as well as our energy and vibes. So again, please keep positive, keep strong. Again, don't go out. I mean, the idea is the longer we stay home and shelter in place, the pretty much everybody will have enough time to determine if they had actually any infection or not, and hopefully they'll be clear. And if everybody does it, we'll go back and resume our lives as we intend them to be. So that being said, we'll resume into our main topic of the day. Just a couple of announcements actually before. We do have daily workout exercises on the channel live in the morning from 10 to 11 with Sam, the Fit and the Fab, and joining the Kick Bridge, the family of I Love Kickboxing, team from the Old Bridge area in Jersey, as well as other folks that joining us live. So join those classes. You can find them also live or replays later on after the actual scheduled broadcast at www.theihealthchannel.com, or you can also, if you have Roku TV or Amazon Fire TV sticks, you can actually download Boxcast TV and then look for the iHealth channel, and you can watch them live on your screen. If you download if you actually go into the website, you can literally just look it up in Google on your smart TV if you have it, or just a computer with a better screen. Again, it's exercise. It's important. Same concept. We need to keep alive. We need to keep moving. We need to keep healthy. What we probably find ourselves doing more of these days is just staying home, eating, and just getting depressed. And of course, when you sit at home, nothing to do, you're probably watching movies and snacking, and watching news and snacking, and it's not helping. So again, we want to come out of this thing, this hibernation, nice and healthy, and physically and mentally, healthy, and our aptitudes are there. So again, just a quick message from the iHealth channel, from Hurricane H here. Again, this is a health, platform, so I'm trying to just keep the context, where it is, and we'll talk more about things. And right now I just want to go into the talk show series, which is the sales world, and then after that we can talk about some more stuff. And we have plenty of time, so I can do a lot of talking. We do have a few shows that are scheduled for next week. One with In Good Hands Medicaid consulting company. They'll actually talk about who's qualified for Medicaid and how can you qualify for Medicaid and things like that, for those people that may be wondering about how to get certain benefits. We also have Medley Pharmacy and a guest speaker, Shirag Kulkarni. He's the co-founder and CMO, and he'll be talking about what their services are. Very important service during this crisis and beyond this crisis. It's an innovative, approach to pharmacy and pharmacy delivery, and they are pioneers. They started this, a couple of years back, so they know this better than most. All right, so again, stay tuned. Look forward to those shows, and we have a few others broadcasting later on, for Broker World and other topics. And so that being said, going back to the main topic here, want to go back to the mainframe here. And so sales, we've talked about probing, we've talked about, canvassing, probing, needs assessment, surveying, doing all that good stuff. But then now we're talking about presentation. You're going through the presentation. We did features and benefits, fabs, with the tie downs, and just making sure you acknowledge things. But the most, you can assume you're a salesperson and you're great at what you do and you're doing a good job about finding the business, generating leads, doing business, getting out there, being in front, getting the credibility that you need. You're good about asking the right questions and getting all that stuff. But what I've seen in my experience is that a lot of people may have difficulty sometimes, just handling objections, which is one of the major, components of a sales, transaction, or major blocks, is that people typically, start with a no. Or people will have, many reasons why they object to your presentation. They might have you in their living room, they might be talking to you, but in their mind there's so many things that may be going through that may be, generating some sort of an objection. And an objection, again, it's an unanswered question or something that is, pending, something that they're not clear of, or it could be just a smoke screen and they could be just trying to, get you to basically refuse, to push you out, or just kind of like, stop the actual pitch. So either way, we need to identify that particular objection. We need to isolate it, acknowledge it, isolate it, and then treat it and address it. And if we do a good job at that, we should be able to get good results. I mean, that's the key. Now, again, objections are natural. If you're in sales, prepare to be objected to. People will have objections, and I mentioned this once before, and it's a quote that I've lived with, in my career path. Salesmanship begins when the customer says no. So no is nothing different for us in sales, and so if you're a salesperson and whatever sales, industries, whatever product services you're out there, pitching, you're gonna hear no, and it's kind of like a rejection, and a lot of people fear rejection, and unfortunately that can drive you like, very, very nuts about your own abilities to succeed in the sales environment. You cannot do that. So the first thing that I would say and suggest is that stay focused, know it's part of the deal, be prepared for it, and if you do everything correctly, you should actually have minimized all the objections if you follow the steps as we said before. You build credibility up front, you do all that good, build and report situation, spend as much time to get to know people, for them to get to know you, and you will be diffusing some of that, instability, some of that, and uncertainty that they might have developed or they might have because of previous experiences. Now, again, consumers, deal with a lot of folks out there, and in day-to-day lives, they actually might come across a lot of, as we said before, not the best salespeople. Let's call it for that, and therefore they might have been hurt or might have had bad experiences, and those experiences translate into fear and reaction. And their reaction is that when they meet a new salesperson, they ultimately and automatically with defenses. All their guards are up, and they're not willing to actually make an actual contribution to the actual pitch, because it's a two-way thing, right? You're having a conversation with your customers and your clients, and it has to be both ways in two-way street. But if there is a block, if they actually already have guards up, and sometimes they'll come to you like, I'm not selling, I'm not buying anything. Whatever you sell, I'm not buying. And that could just turn you off and be like, oh my God, that's it. I can't do this. No. That's great. So, ma'am, sir, I get it. Like I said, there is no obligation. I just would like you to hear what I have to say, show you what I have to offer, and then you go in. So basically, you have to don't get crazy about it and be like, oh my God, and tight, like I'm already rejected. No. You have to be prepared that it can happen. And if it happens, it's okay. And what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to walk out without a sale? You try again, next customer, next client. So again, positive, keep, focus, but one client at a time. You're not going to sell anybody unless you did something for them. We've talked about that before. We've talked about you're building credibility, but you're doing needs assessments, and you need to make sure that product that you have or service is going to meet their, the client's expectations. That in itself is half of the game. You're already in front of them. They already spent time with you to doing credibility and building rapport and all that good stuff and getting to know them. So you're really like, you did the features and benefits. If you broke that down correctly, you probably acknowledged everything. If you tied down, the fabs and you like acknowledge everything, it's like, well, so how does that sound? If you like what you hear today, would you consider becoming part of our family today? So if you did all that, you should be in a good place. However, people still come up, so again, like I said, they'll object. They'll object to something. Well, and most of the biggest piece of the objection probably is cost or potentially the need. You didn't do a good job about, whether this is for them or not. So they still have doubt that, do I really need this? And, if you're a good salesperson, and I'm talking about a good, provider of benefit and information and giving them the right tools and bringing and highlighting their needs and wants and making sure that they see the value. And that's the key word, value. If people buy for value, if they see a value, you can buy something you don't even need, but you see value later on in the future. But if you are not building that and raising the value in front of the customer and the client, no matter who they are, they can be individual people, they can be corporate, executive, they can be a client and a company that you need to get a contract with. It could be anybody. It doesn't matter. It could be an interview and you are getting a job. If you're not showing the value, why they should have you and your product, you might not really get anything at the end, and you walk, empty-handed, or you walk out and you know that it didn't work out well, it was not great, and by the time you finish, it's not how, it just didn't happen. So again, let's make sure you see that value, right? And then you're answering all the questions as you go, as if you're building the momentum throughout the whole process. But now questions come. Well, how much is this going to cost me? If that happens in between, guess what? You stop the conversation and it's like, well, there are times where you have to answer. There are times you say, well, ma'am, sir, just hold that. Let me go through the whole presentation and we'll talk about cost. And if cost is really what's going to drive this, I can assure you we have a program that may fit your needs and financial, capabilities. And then you can, postpone that discussion later. But if they say, no, I want to know now, that's okay. If that is your main objection, then let's isolate it. You identify it, isolate it. Let's treat it right there. Let's address. Let's get it out of the way. The more you get out of the way, the more you're going to be able to get your stuff together. Sorry about that. So it's important that we really, 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 really see the value of what we do at all times, because that's how you get the success. And this particular conversation is happening in real time. These people are looking at you. They are trying to get, feedback from you. They're trying to get information that you actually pitch to them. Remember, you went through a lot of work to get to them, to get the lead, to get them to actually accept you in their home or to meet with you or to do a presentation. I'm sorry, I gotta turn this thing off. That's what happens here. Get busy. Sorry about that. So, you've got through all these lengths, and then ultimately now you have a customer that is ready, willing, potentially able, and there's just you and them. There is you going through the process and ultimately giving them the service. Now think about this in this term. It's not what you have to sell. It's whether this is going to benefit them, and you know that already. So you want to convey that message. You want to get them to believe it, to see it, and you document that to them. It's not just words. If you have a presentation, you're obviously going through it. If you have, statistic, you have anything that you can dissect the stuff and show them the numbers, show them how it benefits them. That's it. That's what I said before in the last session. Features and benefits. So you have a feature of a particular service or product. But what is the benefit? What is the value? What is their need from there? And if you did that, you should be in a good place. But again, you will get objections, and sometimes they'll be like us. I just don't want to buy. No, I'm not sure. I want to think about it. Some people say, I never made a decision now. Well, yes, I'm not here to actually force you to make a decision, but you mean to tell me, if I give you everything that you need, just as you said before, and this is going to give you all the resources that you need and the value that you want at the cost you want with the benefits, with the service plus the guarantees, whatever that you actually had told them, what would be a reason for you not to join today? You can say no, but we here, right? You invited me in your home, you invite me in your office, we're together, we're talking. There's got to be a reason why we're here. So, ultimately, I'm a salesperson, and yes, I'm here to actually present your service or product, but, I am not going to sign you or make you buy something that is not for you. You walk into a dealership, you obviously want a car. You walk into, a camera shop, you want a camera. You want to a computer shop, you want a computer, or at least you're shopping for one, or for technology and gizmos. So whatever it is, you're talking to an insurance agent, you obviously need insurance, and you are doing some shopping. So if you're shopping, I'm here to actually demonstrate why my service and products going to be good for you, and why my brand, as we talked before, my company, our brand is going to be good for you. Now, there's a lot of choices out there. Each one of us have, one of the best things that we have is a choice. You've got multiple choices out there. Now, for those of us in the insurance broker world, it's simple because we might have multiple products that are in the marketplace. It's not like we're competing against anybody. You have all the product. It's an easier sale. For us, we should not even have a problem really pitching and presenting the goods and the value. And really, if we ask the right questions and we did a good job about it, we should have already what these people would be looking for. Ultimately, get the actual results for them and basically put them in the plan that they deserve. Done. But for other sales types, there are brands for anybody. And like I said, there are clients for certain products and products for certain clients. So again, you do your homework in advance, you should already have that matched up. So you're not going to go now. Is there potential that you walk out without a sale? When you're walking into somebody's home or somebody's office, there is a chance. And sometimes there is, again, we talked about gatekeepers and, people that will stall you, people that will kind of almost triage you before they present you to the real decision maker. Again, if you're doing the digging up front and you really go right to the source and you did all the good stuff that you need to, you should have been already in front of the decision maker, or you would have gotten both the or as many as decision makers that they should be in particular, decision making, whatever company or individual. So if it's a couple, you want both of them. If it's a corporation, you need, the CFO and the CEO and then, and whoever is in the leadership, executive team, then you present to them. But the end, and same thing, if you're actually presenting to for an interview and you get in that, you want to go, past the first interview, hopefully you go to the actual final interview and the one that's going to make the decision and impress them. Not because you're going to lie to them, you're going to tell them stuff that they want to hear, but you have to document and prove what you have. And if you do a good job, you will have the actual success. Simple enough. So objections are natural. They're going to happen. No is going to be something that you're going to hear, but listen, why is the no? Dive in more. Feel, get to feel and understand why there's a no there. Why that objection? Is it really just, to get you to stop and kind of deter you from pursuing the actual deal? Or really they have an actual value that they're actually not understanding. Maybe there's something you missed. Maybe they're not understanding. So you're telling me you have a question about the doctor and you're not sure if that's going to work for you. So now you have to also repeat when you hear something, you want to reassess that question again and re-ask the question so you can get a little bit of a confirmation that that's exactly what they intend from that objection. So now you ask the question again, you basically almost re-highlighting the whole concept, in the context that they just, throw at you. And then basically you listen to them and then you break it down. So you said 1, 2, 3, 4, X, Y, Z. Let me tell you how this works and let's. And then before you move on, you say, so now, are we good? Are we cleared? How does that sound? Is that better now? I mean, do you understand that this is going to work this way? And this is exactly what you have the concern on. And trust me, there won't be no concern because this is exactly how it's going to work. So you basically identified it, you isolated it, you acknowledged it, and you treated it and addressed it. Boom, they're going to give you a thumbs up. You move to the next one. There may be another one. There may be a few more. There may be nothing. And again, the most objection that you will get is usually around finances and financial, abilities, payment plans, payment ratios, premiums, things like that. But for every sales entity out there, they do have different ways to tackle these different plans that actually have different payment structures that will be benefiting different folks. Now, of course, if you're selling some sort of a very expensive product for someone that physically and financially may not, you have done a bad job because you're going to the wrong customer. So again, it's all starting from the beginning, way beginning. So if you look at the series, the Sales War series with with these talk shows, you should go to the first one and learn, and really view the first concept of us generate the business and finding the leads, identifying who these customers, doing our homework, getting organized, knowing our customer base, who our clients are, so on and so forth, their socioeconomics, all that stuff. And then you move on, and then you'll see that by now you've done all that stuff right. You're really in a good place. You're actually 90% good at this point. Now you still have to get past the objections and then ultimately close. Now the transition is closing. You assumably, got all the objections done clear. Great, bravo. However, you will find sometimes that, individual salespeople that have a problem closing or asking for the close. Can I have your signature? Would you like, so let's get started with the contract. Let me get the contract. Let me get, the enrollment form. Let's start. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get you started with the stuff. So that's actually at the end. But sometimes if someone says, oh, I love this, I really want to do it. And then they keep presenting further, well, all right, great. So are we good? Are we ready to do this? Okay, so we'll do the application, and then I would like to go back just to clarify more, so at least you understand what you're signing for, and then what the next steps are. And if you're in the Medicare space, in our context of in health, insurance and Medicare or government program sales, then you want to go. Of course, you do your recaps. You make sure you go through all the disclosures and the next steps. What's going to happen? Being compliant at all times. There's no option about that. You have to, you must. All right. So those are the things. And in other industries, you probably have the same or similar rules and regulations that you have to follow through with. So do all that. But if you have an actual opportunity when someone says, sign me up, take my business, you take the business. You don't stop. I mean, you don't continue and challenge it. You do it, but then remember, your presentation still has to be complete, and you want to make sure that there's nothing that's going to stop these people or make them change their mind. You don't want buyer's remorse later. You don't want people to change their mind later because they're going to go somewhere. They have to be convinced that this is the best decision they had. And they can only make the best decision if you give them all the information and the fact. Otherwise, again, you will miss the opportunity. We don't want that. So again, let's do this correctly. Make sure we handle our objections. Make sure highlight them, acknowledge them, address them, work with them, listen clearly, restate the actual question to make sure that you actually heard it right. Then identify if there's someone that's willing to close in between. You stop, you can do the paperwork, whatever you start, and then you go back and re-go over a summary. There's always a recap and summary. Every sale, you must recap everything. Just to make sure that you didn't skip anything, that you didn't miss anything, and then at the end, you make sure that they acknowledge what they get into, and you move on. That's a thorough, presentation process, as opposed to like just, okay, you signed here, I got the business, I'm walking away. Remember, it doesn't end with that sale. You want to do more than just selling. Customer service is your frontline, business. You are the frontline in customer service. You do it right up front. It continues with you, and you stay with them. You are the contact between you and that company, whatever the company. Many people, I give the example, when I walked away from different companies and moved to others, my clients were my clients, not so much the company. Yes, they stay with the company. I don't take them. But, when they have questions, they might still call me and I'll tell them I'm not with that company, but how can I help you? And that's the other thing. Just because you move from a company and you don't have the clients, right there, doesn't mean that you cannot pursue them. Like, well, they're not my problem anymore. No, they're still yours. Because maybe they're not happy and they want to change. Maybe they want to have friends that may not want that particular company they're with already, but they want them to be with you whatever you are. Again, don't look at don't have a small narrow vision. Have a nice unlimited out of the box, no box type of concept. See the future, see it long term, not just short term. Do that and you'll succeed in sales. You'll always be successful. You will never run out. Those are going to be your best sources of referrals, and that's what goes beyond the close. So you enroll people, they're good, they're in the plan, you buy them, you sell them, they have a key of the car, they have a key of the house, whatever you sold them, they have it. What's the next? Is that service after the fact? Is that next call? So you close them, great. So when you close, you sign, you're done. We're done. We got the business. But the business doesn't end. Now we take it to the next step. The next step means you are their guide. You are their customer rep. You are their go-to person. You are the one that's going to help them get the services that they need. You know, later on, if they have a question, they call you. Hey, can you help me out here? They might call customer service direct. Customer service, they don't know them. They have no relationship with them. They're going to look at their profile and try to help them. Let me see what I can do. They're going to do the best thing that they can at the time. But you can also help them navigate the system. You know, sometimes instead of calling like 8 IVR prompts, they can just talk to you, and you can just bypass that and maybe investigate things for them and get back to them. Like I said, the best salespeople are the best customer service reps, and they take care of their customers forever until the customer is no longer, you know, available. So make sure you do that, and hopefully these particular instructions or these tips and advice will help you and go a long way no matter what sales you do. And if you are in the health insurance, Medicare sales, or commercial sales, these are same things that will work for you. Again, be compliant, be ethical, be thorough. You don't lie, you don't cheat, you don't cut corners, you don't shortcut people. You know, you sell the product for whoever is needing that product. And there is a product for every customer, and there's a customer for every product.